I never thought a simple hoodie could change my life. It all started one chilly evening in October. I had just moved to this small town, hoping for a fresh start after everything that had happened back in the city. New town, new job, new me, or so I thought. On my second day here, I decided to explore the local thrift shop. It was one of those quaint, cozy places packed with an assortment of old books, vinyl records, and clothes that seemed to have stories of their own. That's where I found it, a black hoodie, tucked away on a dusty rack. It wasn't particularly remarkable at first glance, just an old, worn hoodie with a faded logo of some band I didn't recognize. But for some reason, I felt compelled to try it on. As soon as I pulled it over my head, I felt a strange warmth, almost like a hug. It was comforting, especially in an unfamiliar place. The hoodie fit perfectly, as if it had been made for me. I bought it without hesitation and wore it out of the store. That night, I decided to take a walk around my new neighborhood. The streets were quiet, with just the occasional rustle of leaves and distant barking of a dog. As I walked, I noticed something odd. I passed by a group of teenagers, and one of them, a tall guy with a baseball cap, nodded at me and said, "Hey, man, good to see you again." I was taken aback. I had never seen this guy before. "Ah, yeah, you too," I mumbled, continuing my walk. Maybe he mistook me for someone else. The next day at work, things got even stranger. My new colleagues, who had been somewhat distant the previous day, suddenly acted like we were old friends. "Glad to have you back," my manager said with a warm smile. "Back?" I thought. I didn't ask, not wanting to seem odd on my first week. Then it started happening more frequently. Random people greeted me like an old acquaintance, shop owners gave me discounts, and I even got invited to a party by someone who swore we'd hung out before. It was as if this hoodie had given me a new identity, one that people in this town recognized and welcomed. Curiosity got the best of me. I decided to investigate the hoodie's origins. After work, I went back to the thrift shop and asked the owner if she knew anything about it. She looked at the hoodie, her eyes widening a bit. "Oh, that one. It belonged to a young man named Jake. He was quite popular around here. Always helping out, organizing events, just a real nice guy. Moved away a couple of years ago and left some of his stuff behind." This was getting weirder by the minute. Was I living Jake's life? I started digging into local archives and talking to more people. The more I learned about Jake, the more I noticed the similarities. We were the same age, had similar interests, and even looked somewhat alike. One evening, wearing the hoodie, I attended a town meeting. People greeted me warmly, and I felt a strange sense of belonging. During the meeting, an older woman stood up and addressed the crowd, her voice trembling. "We need to do something about the community center," she said. "It's falling apart, and it was Jake's favorite project. He'd be heartbroken if he saw it now." Without thinking, I stood up. "I'll help," I said. "We can organize a fundraiser, get volunteers to fix it up. We can make Jake proud." The room went silent, and then erupted in applause. In that moment, I realized what this hoodie really was. It wasn't just a piece of clothing, it was a symbol of who Jake was and what he stood for. By wearing it, I wasn't just becoming Jake, I was becoming a better version of myself. Over the next few months, I threw myself into the community. We fixed up the center, organized events, and slowly but surely, I became part of the town. The hoodie was no longer just something I wore, it was a reminder of the impact one person can have. And as for Jake? Well, I never did meet him, but I like to think that somehow, he knows. Maybe he left that hoodie behind on purpose, knowing that someone else might pick up where he left off. All I know is, it changed my life, and I'll be forever grateful for that faded, old hoodie.
Subscribe the channel and like the video.